Please welcome to the stage CEO and co-founder of Vanta, Christina Cassiopo.
Hello, and welcome to our first inaugural VantaCon. We're so excited to have you all here today, and there's a lot we're excited to talk about with you. We have an action-packed conversation with leaders across Vanta, as well as customers and partners who will help bring to life our products and services, and how we hope they're changing the game for companies around the globe. At Vanta, we like to think of ourselves as your trust management platform. And today, we're going to focus on the 3 pillars of your business that pose some of the greatest risks to your security: your people, your vendors, and your assets. But before I dive in here, I want to kick off our conversation together by highlighting a few of the first-to-market product innovations we've shipped recently to help you all achieve compliance faster and use your company resources more efficiently. First, Smart System Description, exclusive to Vanta, guides you through the process of generating a system description, which is a foundational document for your SOC 2 audit. Ryan Hess, CEO of Connective Health, said that tool saved his team over 10 hours of compiling information and typing it up into a report. We've also deepened integrations with identity providers like Google Workspace and Okta. So now you can manage your employee groups in those tools, have them in Vanta, and have everything automatically synced across those groups as people join, leave, or move around your company. It's a huge time saver for access reviews, which is something we'll talk a little bit more about in a moment, and a feature that we've heard from many of you that you're looking for. So very glad to deliver it. And finally, we have the enhanced risk management solution, which includes pre-built workflows like a risk library of over 50 common risks and suggested controls to mitigate them. Our thinking with this product is it not only streamlines the risk assessment component of a SOC 2 or another compliance standard, it goes a step further. We've aligned our risk management solution to the gold standard framework for risk, ISO 27005, so that you aren't just checking a box, but you're truly making your organization more resilient. Most exciting for me, this past year has brought a return to travel, and I've gotten to meet so many of our wonderful customers in person as the world has opened up again. Like Steven at Incident.io, who came to Vanta looking for a SOC 2 in order to sell into the US. And Incident not only expanded to the US, very much selling here if you're in the market for incident management, recommend Steven. They're also finding customers and distribution through Vanta by partnering with us and building on our API. And so with that, I'd like to welcome Steven to the stage. Hello, thank you so much for joining us.
Not at all. I have hair now, which is makes that photo out of date.
Yes, well, you look great. Thank you so much for joining. For folks who don't know, tell us a little bit about Incident.
Yeah, so Incident.io is incident management that's native to Slack. So we work with fast-growing technology companies. So when they're facing service outages, data breaches, essentially they use our product to fix these problems faster and stop them happening again. So this looks like workflows in the product to automate your response, analytics and insight off the back of that. And yeah, we are quite a young company, so about 15 months old at this point, but now just selling and growing fast.
Yep, well, we are happy customers at Vanta.
Oh, glad to hear.
Curious, what kind of brought you to Vanta initially? Like, why did you need to get compliant? Did you just think it'd be a fun project? Was there something else motivating it?
Yeah, I didn't think it was going to be the most fun project. So incident management, we are essentially dealing with incredibly sensitive data for our customers about stuff that has gone wrong in their organization, right? So never want this stuff to leave our boundaries, and as such, compliance and security from day one was really, really important. So I had previously got ISO 27001 at a previous company. Not a great experience. Many, many months, Google Drive, files everywhere, audits. Essentially, like Vanta felt like the way that we would want to solve the problem. And yeah, we're also selling to scale-ups and enterprises from day one. Essentially, we just had this ever-growing pipeline of deals that was getting blocked on SOC 2. So yeah, partnered with Vanta, and I think we're a couple of weeks from talking to actually getting our type 1 SOC 2.
Well, I think hearing that like the product's kind of built how you would do it is one of the highest compliments, so thank you.
Yeah,
I've also hear you're using the product in interesting ways, kind of beyond just SOC 2. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So when we are selling to customers, they want us to be able to prove, not just with a snapshot that we are secure, but like over time. And the way that we'd previously done this before is we were using DocSend. We sort of upload these things, and then we'd manually give access to certain folks. Like it worked, but it wasn't great. Vanta then released Trust Reports, which is essentially plugs into all of our infrastructure. So Heroku, Kanji, all of the MDM stuff. So it's essentially the streaming, always up-to-date view of how secure we are as an organization, which, really just, I think, engenders a lot more trust than a PDF that we exported 4 months ago.
Amazing. Very much agree. We're looking forward to more folks using Trust Reports. And then I mentioned this briefly, but customer, but also a partner. So, I mean, I think I've got a sense of how you thought about that. But for everyone else, like why, we loved your partnership, but why'd you all choose to do that? I'm sure you got a lot of things going on.
Yeah, absolutely. So when stuff goes wrong in an incident, you'll usually respond to it. There'll then be this sort of mop-up process where you'll have a post-mortem. You'll come out with a bunch of action items saying that, we need to fix A, B, and C. A lot of the time, these actions go into this like Jira black hole, never to be seen again. And what we wanted to do was fix that. So we integrated with the connectors API in Vanta. So what happens is, in incident, you figure out what it is. You create your action items and your follow-ups. We export that all to Vanta as security tasks. So this might be like, in SOC 2, it might say something like, we need to have all SEV1 incident actions completed within 2 weeks. Essentially, we don't want to be the place where you get the work done. We would rather give that to Vanta. So we now have this sync with Vanta where that work gets done and evidenced in Vanta, and when it's done, sync back to us. And yeah, it's this really nice relationship where incident is the place where you get, we make incident response delightful, but then Vanta is where you prove that you're doing it really well. And yeah, it's been great. We've got a ton of shared customers as well, so it made sense from day one.
That's very neat. Well, thank you for doing that. It sounds like y'all have been building a lot. What's next for you?
What's next? So we just launched an Insights product. So most of our customers have not had any kind of incident analytics data before. It's usually this Google sheet of doom that you manually create. Because we are the way that you respond to incidents, we kind of know, how long did it take, who was involved, when were people paged, all of that stuff. So we built a really rich Insights product that you can get through us. And then we are growing in the US. So I'm moving to New York in a couple of months.
Very jealous.
Have to, just in time for the brutal New York winter. And now just essentially we'll be growing over here. So won't be the last you've seen of us.
Amazing. Well, I look forward to seeing more of you. Thank you so much for joining today.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Awesome. It's been amazing to meet with so many of your customers this year and to hear about your Vanta victories. Whether it's closing your first big deal with a SOC 2 report, unlocking a new market with a framework like HIPAA, or reducing the time your team spends answering security questionnaires with Vanta's Trust Reports. But I've also heard a common question from almost every customer I've talked to, which is, what should I think about next? Compliance reports like SOC 2 reflect a moment in time. Stephen introduced that to us. And those snapshots are critical for establishing trust and closing deals in enterprise software. But landing that deal is not enough. And in all my conversations, I've heard that it's about the long game. You want to build deeper relationships with your customers and expand your business together. You also need to hedge against the financial and reputational risks that only grow as your company does. And you don't just want to enter new markets, you want to dominate them. Vanta established the category of automated compliance in 2018 to help level the playing field for startups entering into enterprise deals and selling into the enterprise. And as automated compliance became the norm, we saw an amazing byproduct. An entire generation of SaaS companies started to think about and manage risk from day one. The virtuous cycle between growing revenue and strengthening security has continued to drive expectations of trust higher across the industry. And to meet these rising expectations, Vanta is now evolving into a trust management platform that proactively helps you address possible negative outcomes, like data breaches. And we want to help you demonstrate the steps you're taking to others outside your company so that you can, again, gain new business, reduce customer churn, and ultimately build trust. We've begun that evolution into a trust management platform by adding support for 3 of the most important risk surfaces to manage within your company: your people, your vendors, and your assets. And we've heard from you all that these are not only the risks that keep you up at night, they're also the most difficult, manual, and time-consuming to effectively manage. So first, let's talk about your people. People are your company's most valuable asset and its largest surface area of risk. Every tiny daily interaction your employees have with your systems brings with it just a little bit of risk. Whether they're carrying their laptop on the subway or the BART, logging into AWS from their terminal, or sending a quick Slack message while waiting at a restaurant. And the collective effect of all these tiny bits of risk can be huge. Data from Verizon shows us that 80% of data breaches start with human error. So we know that managing your people is critical to being trustworthy. And at the same time, access can be one of the most difficult things for a fast-moving company to manage. Vanta already has the most robust access workflows of any automated compliance tool on the market. Take, for example, the recent experience of Chad Breston, lead security engineer at Clyde. Clyde recently came over to Vanta from another automated compliance tool. And when Chad and his team connected their tools with Vanta, Chad told us that Vanta not only helped him track endpoint statuses, which you kind of expected, do what it says on the tin and all that, but it triggered a new test that found an SSH key that 2 employees shared. Working with Vanta, Chad and his team were able to identify and remediate that security risk right away. Managing access has always been a foundational part of our product, but we wanted to go further. In speaking with many of you, we realized that access reviews, even those done in Vanta, are still a major source of pain within your companies. For internal security teams, performing regular access reviews requires updating spreadsheets, logging one by one into sensitive systems, and a bunch of tedious work. And countless security professionals have told us that this time-consuming process takes them away from more strategic security work and introduces an element of human risk that comes when even the most observant of us is working on kind of tedious, mundane tasks. So over 70% of startups don't have dedicated security personnel, meaning that this work falls to their engineering team or their founder, which I can tell you personally isn't a great situation. Either reduces velocity of the team or just makes this not happen at all. So now we're really excited to share how we're making access reviews faster and more comprehensive. If you all could help me welcome Tony to the stage.
Regular access reviews are a compliance requirement for most standards. and a security best practice. Vanta's Access Review product helps you to implement one of the fundamental pillars of a zero-trust security model, the principle of least privilege, which ensures that users have the minimum account access required to resources, data, and systems to get their jobs done. Today, I'm going to show you how Vanta's Access Reviews product helps you implement that principle with efficiency and quality. We'll walk through the end-to-end process from creating an access review to identifying and remediating improper access, and finally, to approving and sharing a review. Throughout this journey, we'll touch on 3 key personas. First, the admin who's responsible for the overall access review. Second, the system reviewer who's responsible for evaluating the legitimacy of accounts. And finally, the auditor who will evaluate completed reviews. So let's jump into the demo. With Vanta's Access Reviews, you now have a single pane of glass to view all of your systems, accounts, historical reviews, and upcoming reviews. Completing an access review has never been easier. Let's start by creating a review for your high-risk systems, which has customer data or your company's proprietary information. Vanta's integrations with your business-critical systems, including cloud providers, data warehouses, version control systems, and IDPs, to name a few, means you can continuously monitor access and view up-to-date account details, saving you time. Now let's see how else we can make you more efficient. As an admin, you can assign a reviewer for each system, in this case Megan, and provide them with a seamless experience to quickly evaluate employee accounts. From a quality perspective, bringing these stakeholders into your process is critical to ensure that the folks closest to your system's business functions are the ones reviewing the legitimacy of account access. Now let's look at this from Megan's perspective. As a system reviewer, Megan will receive a notification letting them know there's an important task to complete, to review the account access for GitHub, the company's code repository. To start off, Megan can see Vanta has flagged several at-risk accounts. Let's see why. Christopher left the company earlier this week, but still has an account, which we know through our Gusto integration. And Ricky recently transitioned from engineering to product marketing, which we know through our Okta integration. These 2 risky access scenarios need to be corrected quickly to protect your business. Through Vanta's deep integrations with your people ops systems, we automatically detect when employee changes happen and alert you to make the appropriate account access modifications, helping you efficiently build trust in your systems and processes. Now, Megan can quickly segment this list based on user role to review the rest of the member-level accounts, and then more methodically evaluate the rest of the high-risk privileged accounts. Vanta gives you the tools to move quickly when the risk is low and focuses your attention when the stakes are high. Finally, Megan can kick off the remediation flow so that changes are tracked to completion. This can be done natively in Vanta with Notes, or you can leverage a task tracker like Asana. Vanta works with your task tools so that you and your team can do your work wherever it makes sense for your business. Remediation task automation means you can move on with confidence that the access changes will get done and quality will be delivered. The GitHub review has been submitted. Now, all of the data from the system reviewers goes back to you, the admins, to track and manage. With a focused experience for flagged accounts, you can make sure remediation is completed. Let's check back on Christopher, who left the company earlier this week. We can see that his account has been flagged and remediation is in progress. Through Vanta's account access integrations, we can sync user data and confirm that his account has been revoked. Great. Christopher's access to GitHub has been removed. And so has Ricky's. Proof that changes have been made and remediation has been completed is provided to you automatically through the GitHub integration. Perfect. Now your access review is done and ready to share. As your final step, you can invite your auditor to view completed reviews, which have been stored and logged in Vanta, or you can send them an access review report. Vanta reports answer auditor questions preemptively, like when was this review completed? Who performed each review? Who approved the review? And what changes were made based on this review? Thank you for walking through Vanta's Access Reviews product with me today, a new experience built to improve your team's efficiency and quality. To learn more about how Vanta can help you streamline your review process and continuously monitor user access, please visit me and the team at the product booth.